All right, so in section 8, we're going to be taking a look at compound clips and multicam clips. Let's dive into compound first here in lesson 1. So compound clips are essentially, in my mind, like mini self-contained projects within your master project. So let's say, for instance, as we see here, we have been creating some transitions between these clips. We've been adding some text on top. We added some effects over here as well, and another transition. So let's say we wanted to make sure that we don't lose any of this over here. Nothing gets moved, nothing gets changed, everything remains the same. We can lasso all the clips that you want to be contained in the compound clip and simply hit Option G. Now this new compound clip name will pop up over here. Let's name it self-contained transition. And we can put it in media here, but then it's going to get mixed up with all of our other stuff. So what you could do is cancel out of here, create a new event. Go ahead and let's label this compound clips. And now when you select all this, hit Option G, we can select the compound clips event to put this into instead of. Go ahead and click OK. Now this is just one simple, easy place we can go to see all of our compound clips at the same time. Now if you don't name it yourself, the default name is going to be the same as the sequence that you were creating the compound clip from within. Now you need to be careful with that, because if you were to then go create another compound clip, let's say, you can see it would then have the same name as the first compound clip that you created. So it's always a good idea to name these as accurately as possible. That way you don't have double compound clips with the same name, and that you can find them more easily in your browser sidebar over here. Now let's say we hadn't created an event to move the compound clips into, but that it was just mixed in with everything else. So let's assume we're just here in our big library. Now this is where you can use your smart collections. Now we don't have a smart collection yet for compound clips, but we could easily right click on the library, go new smart collection, and as you know, since we're creating it within the library and not an event, this smart collection will span the entire library. Go ahead and type compound clips. Double click on it to bring up the parameters. Go ahead and go to type is compound, and then boom, your compound clips are now filtered into that. So that's two different ways to create a single place to filter your compound clips into, either by creating a new event to filter it into upon creation, or a smart collection in which to filter it into at any point. Another reason you might want to compound a number of clips all together is, let's say you wanted to apply an effect, and you wanted the effect to take place over a course of clips and not just one. Well, you could apply the effect individually to each clip inside the compound clip, or you could just drop it on the compound container itself. And you'll see now that that effect was applied to the entire section. Go ahead and Command Z to undo that. Now if we click on the container here of the compound clip and we go up over here into our inspector, into our audio, you can see here that we do not have access to all of the different isolated tracks that we have when we're looking at the clips themselves. Now up over here in dialog, you can click on roles here, and you can click on sub roles right there, and now you will get access to all of these individual isolated clips of audio that are contained within the container here of the compound clip. And if we go ahead and expand audio component there, you'll see that you can get access to it in the timeline as well. But if you look over to your left here, this little compound clip symbol, that is telling you that you're still looking at a compound clip. So go ahead and collapse audio components. Now if you were to double click onto the compound clip, it opens the compound clip up in the timeline editor. Now if you want to go back to the timeline that you were actually working on, it's this little arrow key right over there. You can navigate back and forth by doing that. You can also navigate back and forth by holding down your command button and hitting the left and right brackets to go back and forth one direction or the other. Also, if you hold down the arrow key, you'll see what your other options are over here to the right and to the left. Now once you're inside this compound clip, now any changes you make to this over here, go ahead and drag that down over there and delete that. As we go back to the original clip, you'll see those changes have now taken effect. So you can see that from here onwards, this is all just black where there used to be clips showing, because we have changed that content here in the compound clip itself. Go ahead and Command Z to undo all those, and as we go back, you'll see that the images have been replaced because we undid the deletion of them. Now, if you wanted to, let's say, drop this compound clip into another timeline somewhere, and you wanted to then make edits on that compound clip without changing the actual original compound clip, as you just saw, if you change something here, it changes in whatever timelines that compound clip is dropped into. Again, navigate back, Command Z. Now, if you were to select this clip like this, copy it, paste it right to the right of it. Now we've got the same compound clip right next. Go ahead and go back into your compound clip, delete these over at the end. When we return back, you'll see that both compound clips have had the same things happen to them. This is because, like I said, if you edit the contents of a compound clip, you're going to change all the instances of that clip. Go ahead and navigate back into your compound clip, hit Command Z, undo that delete, and go back into your main timeline. Now what we're going to do is select this clip right over here, and we're going to go up to Clip, Reference New Parent Clip. Now what's happened is this has created a new master clip, so that if we double click on this, go inside here, delete this once again, return back to our original sequence, you'll see now this copy and pasted version of the compound clip does not reflect the changes that we've just done inside this compound clip, because they are no longer married to each other. You have created a new parent clip over here with this compound clip. This is another reason why it's important, if you go to duplicate a project, let's say you're versioning it and you want to maintain this project as it was, you need to duplicate project as snapshot. This means that inside this project file, any compound clips that are contained within will be new parent clips, and changes you make to compound clips in the next version moving forward will not be reflected backwards. This is an important distinction to make. I can't make it enough that when you duplicate a project, always duplicate the project as a snapshot if you want to make sure that that version is going to stay the same. If you simply duplicate the project like normal by selecting this, any changes you make in the compound clips moving forward will be reflected back to this. So you'll end up going back to earlier versions and seeing that it's changed from the last time you left it. You don't want that to happen, so be very careful with this distinction. Now let's go back down over here. Let's double click on the compound clip that wasn't changed, and let's go ahead and just move this over to the left a little bit, and we'll drag that guy too. Now you'll see that the clips inside this container are not stretching all the way to where this arrow is on the top over here. This white arrow and this white arrow basically designate what is contained within the compound clip. So we've got some empty space over here. So if we go back over to the right, you'll see that that empty space is reflected now again. Now let's say this was down over here like that, and it was actually, as we double click inside of it, it had shortened this white arrow to contain less than what actually you were seeing originally. These white arrows are always going to be based on the length of the compound clip container in the major timeline that you're working in. And as you see, if you try and drag this over to the right, it only goes so far. If you go back inside to the compound clip, you'll see that's because the clip has ended right there. But if we drag this individual clip a little further to the right, go back into our original timeline, you see that we now gain that additional space here on the right with the compound clip container. Go ahead and double click inside that again, and you'll see we got some black at the end because the clip itself went black. It wasn't that we ran out of clip like in the other cases. So there you have it, a nice little crash course on compound